Well, today we're going to be planting our broccoli and cabbage. Already have the onions coming up over there, share the bed together, as I've done this way many years in this particular fashion of growing. So we're going to go ahead and spread the soil out a little bit more, get it raked out so that we can be ready to receive the broccoli. Since we're finally at that point, a little late. I'm a couple of weeks later than I like to be, but we say we had a very cool spring for zone 5, finally getting warm, and we're gonna, it'll catch up though. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks about planting broccoli here. First, want to get this all leveled out. A lot of stuff you're seeing is just corn stalks left over from last year. I put some compost in just recently here, and the corn stalks were in the compost, and they will rot down quite nicely over the season. So I don't really care if it's lumpy because the broccoli doesn't care about it. And also I'll interplant with some lettuce in between the broccoli. By the time the broccoli gets big enough, then the lettuce is done. So we can interplant and get more room out of that space also. Alright, wrapping up, getting this all leveled out nicely. Took this in the big chunks out of here. And pretty much I do a 6-foot wide raised bed. It's a free-flowing bed. I don't use any wooden structures, and it works out just fine. Nice and easy and simple to keep in shape there. So now we're going to go ahead and measure these guys out here. I like to put my broccoli so I get a little space between them. We're going to do about 2 feet between the rows going this way, and 18 inches in between, which gives them plenty of space to spread out. So we'll start one here, so every 2 feet, 48, and we'll have one up right down here. There we go. And this thing goes to this side here, on the back corner here, every 2 feet. There she goes. And we'll go 18 inches in between. And that gives plenty of room for the plants to spread out, and also plant some grass, some lettuce in between them. So every 18, 36, and 54. Now we do have a few problems with woodchucks around here. Woodchucks love broccoli. I've lost plenty of broccoli plants over the years. So as this, I will be putting my polyester, spun polyester on top of these guys, but the woodchuck still climbs underneath. So what we do is we go ahead and sprinkle some of this powder stuff around that they don't like. And trust me, once these plants get in, they are after them. So we'll work on that next. Once we get the holes dug here, get the plants in. It's like it's a scented stuff, they don't like it. And then also we'll put, as they get bigger, also put bird netting right on top of the bed. Put 2x4s around the whole perimeter, and that works pretty good to keep the woodchucks from coming in here. And then next thing I like to do is I like to put some ground limestone, just simple garden lime, and the reason for that is to keep what's called cubroot happening. Cubroot is a thing that it's like a little on the bottom of the stem. The roots go down the ground. It gets like a hard ring around it, and it stops the nutrients from going into the plant, which in turn the roots don't longer, they dry up, they get shrunken up, and the plant dies. It doesn't get the nutrients coming up to the plant. Vice versa, photosynthesis stops going down the roots and it doesn't work anymore. So I put about an eighth to quarter cup in each of these holes here. Not much, just enough to help it along with that, and that seems to work very well. I've had very little problem with cubroot. It's always simple to do is just mix in a little bit like this here. Lime does not burn the plants because it's mixed in with the soil, and that keeps you from having problems with cubroot. Alright, continuing along here, I pulled a few things out to get ready to plant the broccoli and the interplant with lettuce, and also get some of the cabbages planted too. Unfortunately, I don't have the red cabbage, isn't quite ready. I had a little problem getting those to germinate this year. Doing something wrong with the seed, so we had to buy new seed, which took a while to get the seed we wanted. And now it has been transplanted to 6-packs, but a little too young to put out. But you know what? It'll grow almost the same speed in the house as they will out here because of the warmth. So we're going to head and work on the cabbage first here. I'm sorry, the broccoli, which is this guy right here. It's called a premium crop by Burpee Seeds. Then we'll wrap up with these guys are a little small yet, but they'll catch up. And these are Waltham by Burpee also. And then we've got some cabbage there. Make sure not Brussels sprouts. I'm growing Brussels sprouts also. Green cabbage. And these are the Brussels sprouts for another area a little later. Then we'll go ahead and interplant with the lettuce here. Some of these are in pretty good shape. They've been growing. Some of this lettuce was started end of January in the house. They're looking beautiful now. They'll take off quick once they get in the ground. And we'll be eating those before you know it. Enjoying those. And we have some more small lettuce to interplant with these guys also. We're going to be planting some little gem. It's like a little Caesar lettuce. Planting a romaine, butter crunch. This is also like a butter crunch here. So let's go ahead and start laying these in and planting them. Then I have the spun polyester remey. I also have the cardboard is for cutworm collars. I'll show you how I do that in a second too. Broccoli does like to get planted a little deeper than it was growing, because a lot of times the roots will go up alongside of the stem, which gives you a much healthier looking plant. And it grows bigger that way too. There we go. Nice looking root system there. Once again, I've used all organic fertilizers to keep these growing. Some fish emulsion, and there's also some other organic fertilizers that are good for seedlings. Mix this in a little bit here. The lime. I don't mind some of these plants being smaller because it slows things down from germinating all at one time. So we have more of a spread out harvest. Nothing like fresh broccoli, steamed, how you like to cook it there. It's wonderful. We'll just break these two guys apart, set them in, and they'll take off in a couple of days there. I do like planting this more towards the cool of the evening, so that way we don't have problems with excessive heat wilting the plants. Gives me a good chance to get going. A good drink of fish emulsion, and they're off and running. So these are a little bit on the smaller side I like to have, but they'll do fine in here. Okay. There we go. Hopefully that one makes a little weaker than I like to see it, but we'll give it a good start at the garden and a good drink of water, and I think it's got some nice root system in that one there. That's going to do fine. And a couple more over there. Okay. Good to see the little fine roots coming along the bottom. Means it's taken off nicely. All right. Now we'll go ahead and put in some cabbages in there. Right here. I was going to put red cabbage in with this, but we'll go ahead and plant these 4 green cabbage. And then what I'll do is I'll plant the red cabbage somewhere else in the garden. We'll find a spot for them, and they'll do fine somewhere else. That's no problem at all. And once again, I always plant more than I need. What I don't need, either share with somebody. If it gets too old, back on the compost bin, it goes back to soil again. So nothing really gets wasted. There we go. Grab one more out of here. The rest of these we'll stick somewhere else in the garden or give them to somebody who might want some cabbages to grow. Other gardening people, friends in the neighborhood, people at church. All right. Now go ahead and throw the lettuce in here. Just go right down between the rows. Got plenty of room for these guys. You see, by the time they get to full maturity, there'll be time to rip them out, or they've already been eaten before the broccoli gets close to being full maturity. There we go. Nice healthy looking plants. This is kind of a romaine red. And another romaine red lettuce here. Just a couple more days and they'll be good to go. A couple more days and we'll be picking these guys. A lot of times I don't take the whole lead off. I just take the outside leaves off, and that way you just get more lettuce. Keeps on coming for you there. Okay. Now go ahead and plant in the smaller lettuce here. This is the little gem, which is like a little a butter crunch. I'm sorry, it's like a I believe it's a Caesar type lettuce. Some romaine. Here's the butter crunch here. That heads up more like this one here. This is the butter crunch. But for consistency, I'll plant more butter crunch down that row there, so it gets more and more uniform. Little label in there. And sometimes we have more than one in here. So yes, we do. So just gently break those apart. And in they go. Okay, throw some more on the other side here. And on this row here, we'll put some more of the romaine type lettuce here. Little labels to know what it is. Even my labels are very simple. I don't spend a lot of money on labels. I go to like a Michael's or Joann's store, buy like a 300 pile of these popsicle sticks, they call it, and that's works very inexpensive, keeps things organized so I know what I'm planting. It works just fine that way. Oh, I have to step in a little bit here, reach this one here. There we go. And we got this here, which is the little gem. And lettuce pretty much has to plant pretty much the same depth it was growing. So that's how I kind of keep it right at the base of the plant. Don't go too deep. Unlike broccoli. And cabbage likes to be planted about the same depth it was growing too. It does not do the same thing as broccoli. It does not run roots up along its stem. Alright. And we'll just throw some out on the edge out here. Nothing like nice, fresh, delicious lettuce in the spring. Okay, next thing we'll do is give it a good drink of fish emulsion. Good soaking. We'll finish this up in a moment. Next thing I'm going to put on what's called cutworm collars. Now I simply make these out of shirt boxes, the boxes you get at stores that the shirts come in. I cut them about a couple inches wide by about 5-6 inches long, and I don't even cut through, just take a knife and razor blade, use the scissors, cut them into, like I said, these little lengths here. Don't be fussy. And the purpose for this is to keep the cutworms from coming in and destroying the cabbage plants. That, tomatoes, peppers somewhat, cutworms just love them. Lettuce, I don't lose too much to cutworms. I don't worry too much about the lettuce. If I do see activity, I'll run in and put them in. I do keep an eye on them. So we'll go ahead and start putting these around here. You just kind of wrap them around like a circle. And some people can use put popsicle sticks next to them. That works. Anything that keeps the worm from getting in there to grab the plant. A cutworm basically puts this little worm around the plant, sucks the life out of it, cuts it right off. I guess they're looking for the nutrients, and that's why we put protection. That way the worm, if it cuts across underneath the surface of the soil, it will not go into past that barrier and get into the plant and cut its life off. You don't do that, if you have cutworm problems in the area, you'll know when you come out and you find your plant wilted over and you've got other protective covering, you know it's not an animal doing it or a chipmunk. It's usually cutworms. So we'll continue working on that. Alright, a couple more left to put some cutworm collars around these guys here. A couple more cabbages. And it doesn't take very long. Don't be fussy with it, just to make sure you got a nice even contact along the bottom of the dirt that you wrap around the plant, and make sure the corners are tucked in nicely. They overlap. And that's it for that. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put down some spun polyester. And the idea with the polyester is keep it warm during the day. At nighttime. It can also help reflect, take care of any bug problems. That way the cabbage moths, worm moths, can't lay their eggs, which becomes cabbage worms, and get those little green eggs running around your broccoli and cabbage, which some people don't appreciate too much. This also helps move the crop along a little faster too. Helps it mature quicker, keeps it nice and warm during the day, and also warmer at night in case it gets some chilly evenings. So it's this some call it remey, spun polyester. It can keep your plants warm down to pretty much down to 28, 30 degrees at nighttime. I'm seeing upper 20s and being zone 5, southern New Hampshire. We've had some of those nights where it's gotten down that cold. So I've run a piece of this here. If it got down to 28 degrees, I'm throwing a lightweight blanket on top of this too. But this will help keep the heat in at night in case it gets too chilly. Definitely it's come in handy when I plant these things in end of April. Like I said, we're a little behind because we couldn't get the seeds to germinate properly, and it was still quite chilly in April too, more than I like to have. So there's little pins. We've got assortment of things here. It's just a matter of holding them down. If it gets too windy, you can also stick some boards along the edges too. That works out fine too. Oop. Here we go. Let's get on the other side. I'll give a little space so it can plants get room to grow. Like I say, this isn't staying long. I pretty much keep this on right till pretty much the end of May here. Today is May 9th. So we'll keep this on probably till right before Memorial Day. We'll take it off depending how the plants are doing. And the lettuce takes off very quick with this too. So if you're worried about being behind the lettuce crop a little bit, this will really help move it along fast. There we go. Just a couple of these on this side here. A little excessive, but hey, a lot of my pins are being used for other things like the corn, which by the way is coming up already. I just planted that on last week Friday, and it's because the spun polyester on top of the corn over there, it's already germinating. And there we go. That's how you simply plant broccoli and cabbage and lettuce in between. And we'll check back this in about a week. And the lettuce will probably be ready to pick sooner than that because it's already fully rooted and a good size head. So we'll get those out a little earlier. And hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you're a first-time viewer. And I appreciate you coming back for more. There'll be more coming up here in the future. Next thing we'll do is probably planting more corn this weekend. And season's rolling quickly. A lot of fun.